It's the Good and Trash Halloween special! My name is Eric.
And I'm Jason.
How's it going?
Excellent.
This is our third year of doing this.
Our third spooky year.
We've been doing this show for 4 years.
Right.
I don't know why we didn't do it in that first year, but we suck.
We were too scared.
That could be true.
Yeah.
How's it going?
It's not bad. It's
Yeah.
not bad. How about you?
I'm doing okay.
You feeling the Halloween spirit?
No. I'm mostly just feeling sleepy.
Yeah, it's late at night.
It is late at night. And that is the fault of our guest. So I guess this is tradition now?
Yeah?
3 years in a row, that makes it
I
tradition?
believe so.
Yeah. But, so the first time we did this, of course, we reviewed, a franchise. 3 different parts. We had 3 different guests for each of those. We reviewed the Creature from the Black Lagoon movies. Then last year when we did it, I was still on my Miss Classics kicks. So we reviewed 2 pretty much thought of classic horror films.
Oh, yeah.
That I had never seen, and we invited some guests for that. And this year we're doing something a little bit more different still. We're letting our guests pick the movies. And,
Under some very thin, thin layers of rules.
only one of those guests had rules. And that guest is with us today, Matt Brassfield.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, why did I have rules?
Because we know how you behave if you don't have parameters set.
How would I behave, Jason?
And we would be watching,
We'd have been watching something by Andy Kopp, probably.
That's not true. That is not true. There's nothing wrong with Andy Kopp films, but that is not true.
I wouldn't have cared if Andy Kopp. I just thought, I think the rule was no sequels.
No sequels, nothing that you have made or nothing that any of your friends have made.
Yeah. I would never have brought something I made for that. Because that just doesn't fit. Because regardless, you guys would probably, even if it was absolute garbage, would more than likely act like you like it.
No.
And that's not.
Actually, it's probably the other way around.
Yeah. Which is why we have the rule.
Yeah.
We review nothing by anybody that we have ever met.
It's understandable. Understandable.
Or at least not. I mean,
Well, yeah, because we've met other comic artists.
I met Zimmelman.
Right, yeah. but are on friendly terms with.
But there you go.
Yeah.
That's probably good.
Wherever feelings could be hurt, we won't review it.
There you go.
Understandable.
Yeah.
I'm excited because this is the 3rd time I've been on one of your Halloween specials.
Yeah.
First time I was on, I reviewed Creature Walks Among Us with you guys.
That's the final one, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
the 3rd of the trilogy.
Yeah.
And then I got to review Phantasm with you guys, and I had to defend myself on why I liked Phantasm.
Yeah, you may be up for another round of that.
I figured.
At least as far as I'm concerned.
I will take up for this film I picked with my dying breath, sir.
What did we watch?
We watched a little movie called Trick or Treat. An emphasis on the or. Because there's another movie called Trick or Treat.
Right.
Which, I'm going to go ahead and say it is far superior to this one.
We watched the one from 1986.
Yes, we did. Starring Skippy from Family Ties.
That's right. Mark Price. The legendary Mark Price.
Was there a girl from either Family Ties or Growing Pains in this too?
I didn't recognize anyone.
I don't think so.
Who was
Leslie? The girl that played Leslie?
Elise Richards? No, not Leslie. The girl that masturbates to the demon tape. Spoiler.
She looked familiar, but I can't place her.
I thought she was Mike Seaver's sister for a second there.
No.
Oh, no.
That wasn't her?
No,
Okay. Not at all.
Okay.
And that's also not Family Ties. That's Growing Pains. Mike Seaver is
Family Ties with Michael J. Fox.
Well, what was Michael J. Fox's character?
Alex P. Keaton.
Alex P. Keaton. That's the one I was thinking of.
Okay.
That was
His
Bateman.
sister.
It's
Yeah,
Bateman.
Justine Bateman.
Oh, that was Justine Bateman.
Yeah.
Who was not in this movie.
Oh no, I am thinking of the other one then. The one with Alan Thicke.
Yeah, that's Growing Pains.
That's the one I'm thinking of. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah. Nah, yeah, not the one that was like dating Nick and like, yeah, not that girl. That was
Right.
the other show. Yeah, the other show. Okay. I get those two shows. Those two shows are exactly same things, just plugged into different ports. You know, like it's the same exact thing. It's just
Not really,
No,
but
yeah, not really at all.
trick or treat.
trick or treat indeed.
Yes. So yeah, this is a movie from the 80s, and boy, is it from the 80s.
It embodies everything that it was great about the 80s.
It's
Horror
arguable.
films, 80s hair metal,
And girls masturbating to demon tapes.
girls masturbating to demon tapes. What else does it have, Jason?
Not
Not at all.
The frickin' bear from Showbiz Pizza.
Billy Bob being wheeled out on a stretcher. It's got Ozzy Osbourne. It's got Gene Simmons. It's got Brainiac from
You're
Superpowers
just
line.
spoiling the whole thing.
No, I'm not going to tell them
Oh.
where they're at.
Oh, yeah.
People have to watch it to see this. The true magic. And it embodies, which one of the things I like about it, which I won't say anything until we let Eric explain the plot.
What? Oh.
Okay. So remember a couple weeks ago when you and I reviewed a comic called Black Metal?
Yeah.
Same plot, similar, anyway.
Yeah. Real similar.
Yeah.
Real similar.
Kid gets a record from his favorite metal god, Sammy Kerr. And it's he had just died like a day prior, and the record is his unreleased album, and he's got the only copy, or the master copy, I should say, yeah. And he plays it backwards, and there's like demonic chanting on it, and basically, Sammy Kerr is alive inside the record and is killing people for the benefit of Skippy.
Yeah. Yeah. He's getting revenge.
See, what I like about it is the whole record spinning backwards really embodies the 80s, because Ozzy Osbourne was in trouble for supposedly hidden messages and Suicide Solution. Judas Priest had to go to trial for Better By You, Better Than Me, for supposedly kids shooting themselves, and them blaming it on messages on these albums that are in the background. And so that's one of the reasons why I think it's really cool, too.
Well, see, that's one of the reasons why I think it's a piece of shit.
What? Because of the background messages?
No, because this movie is everything that scared old white guys were afraid of about metal.
But it's poking fun at it too. I mean,
Yeah.
it is.
It's very tongue in cheek. I mean, it's meant to be laughed at too, and you can definitely tell moments that they're meaning for you to laugh at this.
Oh, I get that.
All right.
But at the same time, it's also that other thing. You know, this movie wouldn't have been made if some guy didn't, think that, well, maybe we can get a message across that metal is bad.
Maybe he was like, maybe whoever made the film was, trying to say like, well, if you're gonna go ahead and sell this stuff, we're gonna go ahead and like just amp it up and show you what it could be
Right.
like.
Yeah,
Well,
make
I'm
it over
guessing-
the top.
That might have something to do with the director, probably, maybe.
All right.
Which I do want to talk about. The director of this movie, Charles Martin Smith. Recognized the name instantly, but I did have to double check it, as we were watching it. You guys have both seen Starman, right?
Mm-hmm.
The John Carpenter movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Charles Martin Smith is the actor who plays the guy who's chasing Jeff Bridges throughout the movie.
Nice.
Directed this movie.
Huh.
He also appears in this movie. He's the principal of the high school.
Yep.
Oh, the guy with the nose.
Yeah.
The fake nose. Okay.
Did you also know that he actually, when he originally made this movie, It was he wanted to make this a huge franchise, and he was comparing it to like a Nightmare on Elm Street as far as having the character keep reoccurring. It was supposed to be like way big, but then the company that made it kind of went out of business and had, failure after failure, so that no sequels were ever made after it. It was actually supposed to be a huge franchise.
Huh.
But it couldn't have happened.
Right.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, like, it would have been weird to see, because, I mean, picture, the cover to Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. That's what the villain from this movie looks like, and that would not have worked a
Past
few years.
1990?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
actually, it never could have went on because Tony Fields, who played Sammy Kerr, who was actually a solid gold dancer, and hence why he was dancing around. He was actually a trained dancer. He actually died a few years later of AIDS, so they never would have been able to make
I am
it.
shocked.
It's sad because the character itself, did have a nice look as far as if you liked 80s hair metal, like you said, Motley Crue and Dokken and all that.
Still,
it would look.
if that guy would have lived, there's no way this franchise would have continued past 1980.
Unless, like, he
They
was
could
wearing flannel in 1991.
Right. Exactly, yeah.
Or they just carried the name over,
Right.
and like everything became different stories. Like the Sammy Kerr storyline would have been
Right.
over, but they could have
Right.
carried it with just the name,
Right.
which I would have seen probably more than likely it going direct to video sequels and stuff like that. I don't
Right.
think after the first one, I honestly don't think any of them probably would have made it to
Right.
theaters.
Well, my guess is that what happened, somebody saw this movie and, it obviously didn't continue, so they wanted to continue it. So they hired Wes Craven and made Shocker.
Oh yeah, that's exactly because the villain is very much like what was his name in Shocker?
I can't remember.
Horace
Horace Pinkman. Yeah.
Pinker.
Yeah, wow.
It's very similar because with the whole electricity coming through speakers, coming
Right.
through anything electric, very very
References to Megadeth throughout both.
Right.
yeah, very true.
So can we talk about the, maybe it's because I have zero affinity for the type of metal that is mostly, represented in this movie.
Right.
But, the weird mishmash of, records in this kid's collection. Like, he's got Megadeth and he's got, like, some other stuff, but then, like, everything that he listens to is pure, like, Motley Crue-ish type stuff, you know?
Well, all of his walls, the posters on his walls is all hair metal though. If you actually look,
Except
it's,
for Anthrax.
Yeah.
yeah. But still, Anthrax still at the time had the big hair and all that. He had Twisted Sister and Motley, and Judas Priest isn't really hair metal either.
Right.
And he had like Priest and Kiss, 80s Kiss. know.
So you think he was a slightly poser though? Like he wears like Alternative Tentacles t-shirts and has like, but he's always listening to Fastway.
Again, I think that just comes down to old white guys in charge of this movie,
Speaking of the band Fastway, who did all the music for Sammy Kerr,
Right.
who's the lead singer? It's the lead singer of Flogging Molly. It's the same guy.
Oh, shit, that's right. I knew that.
Is it really?
Yeah, I did know that. Yep.
Yep, they are the same exact man.
That guy and Fast Eddie Clark from Motorhead.
Huh. Oh, I actually like Fastway.
Fastway's pretty awesome.
What happened? And I'm not kidding.
He formed a better band called Flogging Molly.
I'll have to agree to disagree. Oh, I think it is perfect that I'm seated between you two because
You are sort of the middle between the two of us.
I did not love or hate completely. Like there's a lot of awesome nostalgia because I grew up listening to the same music and I fucking loved it. And there was elements of this movie that I think were awesome, but then it felt like it was about 3 hours long.
There's moments
yeah.
that drag in spots. The killer is not utilized as much as he should be,
Right.
and I think that's part of the problem. It's basically the last, 20 minutes of the movies when he finally really comes into
Right.
play.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of the problem, but I think they were trying to build up that, Eddie, the metalhead that's being made fun of, I think they were trying to build up, so you had sympathy for him, but they just went a little too long
Right.
in it.
Yeah.
Well, they went about it in the wrong way, though. Because from the get-go, like they spend about 10 minutes building up sympathy, and then they spend about an hour making him an asshole. And then that last 20 minutes of, like, you know, redemption.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it drags.
Yeah, I think the middle was the part that drags. Like I actually love the beginning. Like, I thought the beginning was great.
Well,
Like,
yeah, because it was a good introduction to him. Like,
And
him writing the letters
and it
to
was
his favorite
funny.
metal
Yeah,
guy.
it was funny.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah, and like legitimately, it's not like we were making fun of it. It was like
No, yeah, there was humor,
Yeah.
and I laughed out
Yeah.
loud, legitimately.
it was like
Not-
it was like a fun, and then it just kind of stalls.
it just, like, I don't know that it took itself too seriously, I just think that it fell flat.
right. Like
Yeah.
just in the middle though.
Right, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it definitely needed to pick me up in the middle.
There are good parts of this movie. Like I'm not gonna, you know, completely shit on it.
Yeah.
But it definitely, the whole thing reeks of just missed opportunity. You know, just from story, pacing, special effects, horror aspects of it. You know, like it was clearly a rated R movie. You know, because they throw around, you know, fuck, like, you know, nobody's business.
They show boobs.
And they show boobs. And then, of course, you know, demon Walkman, you know, masturbation scene. But, you know, like all the kills are, like, so tame.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
They didn't push the limit on the gore.
exactly, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say because I actually thought the special effects were pretty good, like especially with like the lights and like you know all the crashing, like
I have seen worse, like, electricity effects.
yeah,
But, you know, like, you know, some of the stuff was just sort of, I just think it was, alright.
I agree with the gore. The gore could be
Yeah,
bad.
the gore could have been better. Basically, I think that's representative of the whole movie. That they were trying to do this over the top thing, but I don't think they pushed it
Right.
enough.
I gotcha.
I did like the special effect that they did of him pushing through the speaker, which is clearly just latex.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
the old
It
Nightmare on
looks-
Elm
It
Street.
looks cool.
But
Oh, yeah.
that always works in
It's a
films.
classic,
Like even I mean even like you know the part there's like a scene where Sammy like pops through a window and like I mean there's a lot of like cool looking scenes
Yeah.
like I think they thought a lot of stuff through pretty well. But yeah there could have been a lot more like gore for a metal Halloween movie. There was just not as
Right,
much
yeah.
gore as there could have been.
I always remember being a kid and loving the Halloween dance scene. Where
Yeah.
he finally comes out and he's like hitting the side of his leg and all
Yeah.
the people start clapping and cheering rock with him. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it had a lot of like if you grew up watching 80s videos like of like you know there's kind of like story videos like every time we go to your
Yeah.
parents' house and they have this like you know there's like some incomprehensible Scorpions video, you're like what the fuck is this storyline about? like they kind of took that and made like a 90
horror film out of
yeah
it.
it was like a 93-minute rock video kind
Yeah.
of.
And it's definitely, in my opinion, the better of the films, of the rock horror films that came out in the 80s. You know, it's better than, you know, the Hard Rock Zombies and Rock and Roll Nightmare. And, you know what I mean? It's better than all that stuff. And Rocktober Blood, which I love Rocktober Blood. It's like a guilty pleasure, but it's definitely sets, it's in a whole different league than those movies, you know.
I've never seen any of those movies.
I've only seen Hard Rock Zombies, and it was god fucking awful.
That talk about an incoherent movie. It's Hard Rock Zombies. Like that movie is so, and there's like Hitler shows up, and I mean it makes absolutely no sense.
I think maybe we did watch Rocktober Blood.
Yeah,
I
because
think we watched that.
that's was always one of my guilty pleasures. So I'm sure
Yeah.
you have watched it with me before.
Sounds familiar, at least. I honestly, I think I've seen the beginning to this Trick or Treat movie like years and years and years ago, like late '80s, early '90s. But I never made it more than like 20 minutes in, and it wasn't like I turned it off. I think I just like saw a part of it at somebody's house or
Right,
something.
yeah.
But
Considering, like, 2 weeks ago, you and I were having a conversation where we were trying to think of this movie.
right,
Because for some reason, we got onto the topic of Gene Simmons movies.
yeah,
And, you know, I remembered that he was in a movie with Ozzy Osbourne.
right.
And could not think of the name of it. And I think Actually, Brassfield told it to me like a day later.
Like, yes.
Yeah, because somebody was talking about it at my work, and they couldn't think of the name of it. They're like, "Yeah, I saw this movie where Gene Simmons is a DJ, radio DJ, a rock DJ, and Ozzy Osbourne is a preacher." And I was like, "No, you're making that up."
Oh, it's real.
Yeah.
First time I seen it actually was when it first hit home video, and my older cousin, who was a metalhead and had Kiss posters in his room and all that stuff, he rented it when he was babysitting us, and he's like, "Hey guys, come down here and watch this." So me and my brother, with our older cousin, sat and watched Trick or Treat.
That's awesome.
So that's my first introduction to
So
it.
you get some nostalgia.
And I'm sure some of it is nostalgic. Is probably why I do love it as much as I do, because I was close to my older cousin, and he's kind of had issues now, and I don't really speak to him, but I still have those memories, of
right.
When he would basically watch after me, and would buy me Kiss stuff and come over and give me stacks of Ace Frehley cards, and you know what I mean. That kind of stuff is cool when you're a kid. You're like, yay! And he draws pictures.
Are you kidding me? Ace Frehley cards are cool now.
Oh yeah, of course. But I'm sure that's part of the reason why I do have such a love for the film. And I mean, I still listen to 80s hair metal, and I think
I'm not familiar with Fastway. Is that a real band?
Yeah.
I don't remember them from the 80s at all, but I thought the music was great.
Oh yeah. Movie. They actually made a music video for MTV too.
MTV too?
Yes, for the second MTV station.
Right, yeah.
But they actually did make a music video, and instead of showing the actual band, the music video plays as Sammy Kerr. So it says Fastway, but it looks like Sammy Kerr is actually the lead singer of the band.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they tried. I mean, you could tell they were trying to make this movie something big, that they wanted it to expand and grow.
Right.
It's just bad company to pick it up with the DEJ, which granted, I think they came back in the late 90s. I believe the company popped back up and was bought out by somebody, but not a good company to put it out. There is production flaws where you can see boom mics and stuff in it.
That's I gotta mention that. 'Cause, I mean, you watch a lot of bad movies, and you always hear about, oh, the boom mic was in this shot and all that, but I've never actually seen it happen until this movie. This is the first time I've seen a boom mic enter a frame, like on accident.
Not in Black Dynamite.
Right, yeah.
And this, too, what made it worse is the boom mic had a big red ball on it, so it stood out when it was, like, dangling there, and you're like, oh, look, the boom mic.
And it's weird, too, because the scene got really quiet for a second, as if, like, every actor on screen noticed and just didn't say anything.
Like, are they going to call cut?
Yeah. Like, all right, I don't want to do the scene again. Fuck it.
Well, the guy dressed as Rambo was probably getting cold.
Yeah, exactly. That was amazing. Commie scum, or whatever he says. Oh, man.
And I love this movie so much that my actual cat is named after the Leslie, which is the name of my cat.
Oh,
named
wow.
after the girl from this movie.
Wow. That is awesome.
Yeah. Had that cat for 7 years. So.
Well, you were talking about how, like, the production and blah, blah, blah. Do you think another part of it is maybe it was a little too pigeonholed into the whole metal thing as far as, like, why it didn't do well? Like, even, I mean, I know that metal was huge in the 80s, but maybe not necessarily to a film-going crowd.
I think also
It's
that, and probably it didn't open at many theaters because, big boys, let's be honest, big boy companies is what dominated movie theaters. Your Paramount, your Universals, and Warner Brothers, or you have DEJ, and you're booking a movie theater, and at that point there wasn't many multiplexes, so it was you had like two or three screens, right. And you could take, let's say, Friday the 13th Part 7 or whatever at the time, or Trick or Treat. Which one are you going to take? Well, Friday the 13th is what you're going to go for. You're not going to waste your time on Trick or Treat, right. And I think that also hurt it,
right?
Especially the fact that you got a Friday the 13th with a recognizable character and marketing, and here you have an entirely new character, being presented that
may or may not,
go
over well.
And also, Well, I mean, I guess like the main horror franchises, the big ones, like never really had any stars when they started.
Yeah.
Like some of them obviously moved on to be stars, but
Yeah.
but with this one, I mean, outside of the gimmick of Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne showing up for a scene,
Right.
like Skippy from Family Ties isn't getting much love anywhere,
Yeah.
including now.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest, Tony Fields, no one knows who Tony Fields
he's
was.
a Broadway actor.
Yeah, a solid gold dancer. I mean,
Right,
he's not a name, and none of the people really there were, like you said, names. And you can't really rely on Gene Simmons and Ozzy Osbourne as they don't even really, in original marketing, they didn't even really sell them as like the main stars.
Right,
they were
right.
just guest starring or cameos by.
Well, yeah.
So they weren't even relying on that to be like, look, this is what,
Of course, they're on the fucking cover of the DVD.
Yes,
Well,
of course.
That's
yeah.
because that DVD, the company that put that one out, which actually is out of print, because that movie cannot now really come out because Fastaway didn't want their music, and they wanted more money and licensing and all that. So that's the only way you're going to get it until somebody can fix the license and all that. You got that basically generic DVD that's full framed and no extras or
Right.
anything else. That's what you're stuck with if you're a fan of it. Or find the VHS copy, which has a way better cover.
Oh, is it like your T-shirt where the guy's like
Yeah,
playing
yelling,
guitar
and he's
yeah.
coming through the fire, and he's
Yeah.
screaming. It has the demon head, and
Right.
it's way, way better.
So another part that disappointed me was the masturbating, demon Walkman trick. Like that demon shows up for like a split second, like this monster, the kind of cool looking monster,
Yeah.
and then we never see it again. It doesn't even seem like there was any real reason why it showed up in the
Yeah,
first place.
that was strange.
I mean, it's on the back cover. You can see, but it's like a weird picture of it on the back cover too, because it's got its puppeteers.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't notice that.
So it's like, well, that just seems like a wasted opportunity.
Yeah.
Like they taunted you with it.
A little bit, yeah. Well, it's like that book that we did for Hawken. Where the mer creatures show up in the middle of it and then don't really have any sort of payoff.
Right.
Like it just sort of felt like that.
Like they threw it in and they're like, maybe somebody lost the puppet. He's like, oh, fuck, man. It's in the other RV. Oh, well.
Just cut it out. We don't need the puppet again.
Gene Simmons absconded with it. Because, he just disappears, halfway through the movie. Even when they show up later, he's going to be playing that tape tonight.
Right,
And,
yeah.
they go and, he's just not there.
Well, his hat was there. Sammy Kerr killed him and the security guys, what they were saying.
But
Oh yeah, we get that, but even just before that, you gotta cut to just a quick shot of him, introducing the song,
Right.
instead of what may or may not have been his voice on the radio.
Yeah. Yeah, he just kind of disappears.
At least we get an explanation for why Ozzy's only in a scene or two.
Yeah.
He dies from a brain hemorrhage.
Just spoilers.
But the one thing with the demon, the only thing I can think of, which, they could have explained it, is that's what was in the tape, of course. So it was like a demon that
Right,
was with
yeah.
him, and he put it
Right.
into the tape to kill them, and then once it did its job, it was gone.
Still, it's just something. It's just another thing that it's like they could have pushed it further and made this super over the top, and they just didn't go far enough.
Yeah, it is a fun movie, and and I do
Except
love
for the middle
movie.
hour.
Except for the middle hour. No, yeah, it does drag in the middle, but I think it's a fun movie. It just, like you said, it just could have been amped a little bit in spots.
And it's got some of my most favorite quotes from movies, too, because
Oh.
there's the no wimps, no false metal, which is awesome. And then my favorite, and man, one of my coworkers at work go around and actually say this to each other.
Is
all
it
the
White
time.
Power?
No, which is pretty funny. But is the scene where he gets out of the pool and then he's like, yeah, real funny. Everybody mess with Eddie. You bunch of fucking assholes, and it's his face. It cracks us up every time. So we'll go around and do that to each other. We'll do that to each other all the time. Yeah, real funny. Just pick on Matt Brassfield. You bunch of fucking assholes.
That guy is you. Like, you're right. Like, the movie opens in your room.
It is, yeah.
It
Still
really
to this
does.
day, my room.
Like, it has some of the same posters and toys and, like, music, obviously. And oh, man.
It's my life. That's what I say. Minus being picked on. It was my life.
And I love how, like, I want to talk about a couple of the really funny things that crack me up about this movie. And one of them is, like, sort of like, remember when we watched Brick? There's that scene where everything's real serious and all of a sudden the mom comes in to, like, like the stuff with the mom in this movie really, like, tones it down into, like, you know, comedy all of a sudden.
Right.
'Cause she's, like, folding his laundry and, like, you know, I don't know, grounding him and, like, you know, making him snacks and while he's fighting demons, you know?
And she never catches on that something's wrong.
Yeah. She's kind of oblivious. Maybe that was another comment they were saying because a lot of the parents in the 80s,
Right.
you know, could have just talked to their kids instead of, like, you know, waited until they committed suicide while listening to, you know,
Judas Priest.
right.
Well, I did actually like have a thought about that, like because she comes into his room to like put laundry in, and like then she starts like walking around his room and like looking at his record collection. It's like, have you never been in your son's room before this moment?
Right. Or, like, maybe she was always just ignoring it and, like, she was finally like, what are all these skulls everywhere?
Right.
See, which was what's really weird. I don't know how your guys' parents was, but like my parents knew everything I was into. You know what I mean? They didn't care that I loved horror films and what music I listened to. They never like, you know, they understood that on horror films I separated fantasy from real life.
Right.
And music was just music. It's entertainment. It's not, you know what I mean? You can look into stuff, but it's music. It's not like it's going to change my life. You know what I mean? And I don't know, did you guys grow up with parents that, like, nitpicked things that you guys liked or,
No.
you know,
The only thing I
watch it
remember...
with a microscope? And
The only thing I remember is Eddie Murphy movies. Because I was watching Raw, and my mom came in and was like, this is just too much, you know? Because all the cursing. And the same thing with Beverly Hills Cop. My dad was, like, upset because of all the, like, bad language. But just those two movies, that was the only thing I ever heard about.
My mom would watch horror movies with me when I was a kid, and so she was pretty lenient on it. But then, like, I would get in trouble occasionally. Like, you would see like these like not unsolved mysteries, but like that type of show, but like about like ghosts and stuff. And I'd watch that stuff all the time, and my dad would get furious at me for
Really?
like watching that kind of thing.
that's weird.
But at the same time, like like he knew that I was reading like Stephen King books and Clive Barker and Dracula, and I liked horror stuff. But yeah, he would get upset at me for doing that, or for like if I had MTV on, he would get very mad.
Do you think on the ghost stuff, maybe it's because he maybe did believe in that kind of stuff?
He does not.
Oh, I was gonna say,
No,
maybe
he is-
that's it, and he just thought that by you doing that was...
Nope, he is the ultimate realist. Everything is pragmatic and logical.
Gotcha, and that's to him is silly. Like, why
Yeah.
you wasting your time watching something that's
Right.
stupid and fake and silly?
Yep.
Gotcha.
But also inappropriate at the same time. And as for music, like they never really. I mean, hell, I spent most of my childhood listening to the Monkees and Weird Al. So by the time I started getting into like rap and metal and stuff like that, like they were concerned at first, but then like by the time I was able to like just go out and buy my own stuff, they really didn't bother with it,
Right.
And like I remember one Christmas, like my mom bought me like 3 White Zombie shirts, so I mean,
Speaking of gifts, one of the funniest things I ever got was for Easter, like in the mid '90s. My mom, because I was still young at that point, my mom got us an Easter basket, and in my Easter basket was a Danzig cassette. I always thought that was the most hysterical thing ever, that there was a Danzig cassette in my Easter basket.
You know that would really upset Glenn Danzig if he heard that.
Probably.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I mean, see, like my parents didn't. You know what I mean? They understood. Like, I like Danzig, so they went and bought me Danzig. You know what I mean?
I think, yeah, it was pretty much if they were spending money on it, they were concerned. But once I started, having jobs and making my own money, then they stopped caring as much. But I mean, yeah, they were. But at the same time, I never got into metal until I was 13 or 14 years old anyway. So
Right.
like that whole Judas Priest era, suicide stuff, was nothing that I was ever into at that time.
Right. Right.
I mean, they did question me about if I was going to kill myself after Kurt Cobain, so,
Yeah, like still complicated. Still, collating that information. I'm not positive.
yeah.
It's a possibility.
So you loved Kurt that much, eh?
I did love Kurt quite a bit.
But I did meet. Speaking of,
Kurt Loder?
no, I did meet.
Kurt Loder?
Yeah.
I went to a convention in Indiana called Days of the Dead. I don't know if either one of you guys have ever been to one of those. Really nice convention, really nice put together. But I did meet Mark Price there. Skippy. I met Skippy, and I got my picture taken with him. And guess what we talked about?
Family ties.
Trick or treat. And
was so
my
hot?
idea that I had as a teenager for Trick or Treat 2, and he said he liked it.
What?
He said he liked my idea
That's
for
awesome.
Trick or Treat 2.
What was your idea?
That's because he was out of a job at the time.
He's like, can you pay me to be in it?
No, you know what he does? You know
He's
what
a
he
stand-up
does?
comedian.
Yeah, he's a stand-up comedian
okay.
now. Because he was there doing a show that night because he was telling me, oh, yeah, dude, you should come down and blah, blah, blah. And, okay.
He just wanted you to come to his show.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I mean, he seemed like a really nice guy. He seemed really down to earth. And I think, again, because he never was like a huge star. And he just seems like down to earth. Like if you knew something he was in and you really enjoyed it, he seemed like he was really happy to talk to
That's
you
awesome.
about it. Like, oh, cool, yeah, you like that? Cool, yeah, I did that,
So, but that's the only horror movie he did, right?
As far as I know, yeah, that was
Okay.
it.
So was he like selling like trick or treat like signed photos? and
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
like
he
that?
had like pictures of him as Eddie
That's
from
awesome.
Trick or Treat.
What you got? I'm sure.
I did not. I'm not an autograph hound. I
Yeah.
really don't. The only autograph I've ever gotten, besides like Dr. Creep when he's signed stuff for me, but he just would do it because that was him. But the only person I've ever went and got an autograph from was Danielle Harris, and that was just because I've had a crush on her since I was a kid, and
Who's that?
She's
girl from Halloween and Roseanne and Last Boy Scout. And
Who was she in
Daylight. She played a neighbor for a while. She lived there with her dad and her older sister, and Darlene hated her, and they,
I gotcha.
'cause she was going after David too, and same old stories. But yeah, that's
she was what, Halloween 4?
Halloween 4 or 5,
Yeah.
and then she was in both the Rob Zombie remakes. And
Right.
that's the only person I've ever paid to get an autograph from.
But she was like, what, 10 when the first Halloween
Yeah,
movies were made?
yeah.
So she was
And
like
I was-
our age.
Okay.
basically.
And I was, I think, 8 when that movie came out. So
So it's
she's
not
a couple
creepy.
years.
So it's not creepy.
No, it's
no,
not
no,
creepy.
not at all.
You
Not at
saw,
all.
You saw it when you were 20. You're like, oh, I'm gonna meet her someday.
And it was great because like how you kind of get nervous when you meet somebody that you've always wanted to meet. And like I mean, I've met tons of people. I've met rock stars and movie actors and wrestlers,
Mini
and
comics artists.
many comic artists, and MMA fighters and all kinds of stuff. And I never get nervous around any of them. I've met Quentin Tarantino and like didn't even care. It was more of like, oh hey, you know what I mean? But like I was all nervous meeting her, and I'm like, oh man, what if she turns out to be like a really nasty person? Because I've met a few people that are like, oh, it'd be cool to meet them, and then you meet them, and you're like, God, they're a fucking asshole.
Like
you know what I
mini
mean?
comics artists.
Yeah, like lots of those guys. But it was really cool because once I got up there, she was super nice. Took a picture and put her arm around me, and was like
Gave you a
rubbing.
handy-
Well, no, it was cool because she was like rubbing my back because Julie's camera, which is my girlfriend, her camera was like messing up. And like she was just sitting there rubbing my back and talking to me the whole time. And it was like, it made you feel good. Like, wow, the person that I've had this big of a crush on And I finally meet her, and she's just as much of a sweetheart as I was hoping she would be. You
That's
know
awesome.
what I mean?
That is
And
awesome.
then as soon as you walked out of sight, she doused herself in Purell.
It's possible. It's possible. But I will say that was a cool experience.
That is
'Cause,
awesome.
you know,
That's pretty awesome.
finally meeting somebody that you wanted to, and when you were that nervous, and turning out to be awesome. That was awesome.
Man, it might be the same way when I meet the Olsen twins. I'm hoping. I hope there's Purell involved. So. Any sort of lubricant. I don't care. I'm sorry. What were we talking about?
Never use Purell as a lubricant. It will fuck you up.
From
Do you-
experience.
Yeah, do you know? But yeah, trick or treat. Guilty
Trick or
pleasure
treat. It
for
was
me.
fun.
I love it.
It was fun.
I would never watch this movie again, but it was at times enjoyable
Yeah.
when I wasn't trying to stay awake.
Are you sure you never watch it again?
I would,
Because we're showing a 35 millimeter print of it at Horrorama.
yeah.
Ooh, I don't think that's
You're like,
legal
no.
anymore, is it?
Huh?
That's not legal anymore.
What?
35 millimeter is dead.
Yeah. Well, the production of it's dead,
Yeah.
and
Well-
eventually it'll be dead.
Most
Movie theaters will move
most
away from
theaters.
it.
Well, all of them have to convert to
Yeah.
digital.
Yeah.
Because I was just telling Jason this past weekend that the Neon, our local art house theater, is closing like this week for like a couple of days so that they can make the conversion to digital.
Yeah, and I think this is the last year at Horrorama we're going to be able to do 35 because I think
Yeah.
they told us that next
They're doing
year
it too.
Companies
we're going to
are
have to do
refusing
digital.
to
Yeah.
give out prints now.
Yeah, so we're going to have to do digital first. So this is the last year for 35,
Wow.
which sucks because there's something about those old 35 millimeter, especially the older movies. When you watch them on 35, it's really, the grain and all that just looks great.
Yeah.
It's going to be missed. Stupid digital.
I'm with you. As much as I am a proponent of technology, there's so much more that can go wrong with digital.
Yeah.
You can get a hard drive, because that's essentially what they do is they send you a hard drive that has that movie on it.
Yeah.
You could pop it in and there's just nothing on it. Or, it'll just be a corrupt file and it'll digitize, and then freeze.
Didn't you
Right.
have that problem with a new movie lately? And you had to go see it in 3D or something? It was a print of something, I thought you said?
I know I went to see Thor and the movie was broken, is what they said.
And wasn't it a digital projection?
It was a digital, yeah, and then the only other showing was a 3D showing, which I refused to see. So I just went ahead and got my money back. But that's
That's a prime example of
Right.
what can go. I mean, granted, stuff can go wrong with 35 millimeter. I mean, I've been doing that Horrorama for a while, and there's been times where we're right in the middle of a movie. I think it was a movie called Nightmare. We were showing it, and then all of a sudden you could see where it started to eat, and it was gone, and we were like, "Oh shit,"
me and Joe G drove to Michigan to watch a movie, and they only got like half of the canisters, and they showed the first half, and then they were hoping that they would literally show up during the first half of the movie, and they could just
splice it
Right.
together here.
but it didn't happen, so they gave us all our money back.
Was that Firecracker? Or?
Firecracker? Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I remember you telling me about that. The Mike Patton movie.
And Karen Black. Yeah.
Yeah.
I used to work at a movie theater, and occasionally I would help out with putting together the reels. So I learned a little bit about like splicing film together and stuff like that. And it was fun, putting together trailers onto the movies and everything, and putting them on the big fucking, platters.
The spindles. The
Yeah.
spindle platter.
Yeah. But like I remember, we showed the movie Broken Arrow, the Christian Slater John Travolta movie, and that one got a hole burned through it and everything like that, and it was pretty bad actually. Like we had to actually cancel like an entire day's worth of showing for that
Oh.
movie. Luckily it was like during the week, so like it wasn't like
Slower time.
right. But we had to issue refunds to everyone who was in there at the time, and then we had to find all the places where it was burned and try to splice it together.
Wow.
And hopefully like no huge chunks of it got missing or anything like that. Yeah.
So how did you don't know how it got burned? You guys weren't smoking cigars or
No,
anything?
It just happens.
Yeah, it just happens.
A lot of
projectors
it's-
run super hot.
Yeah, and a lot of it's the wear and tear, and then if the film itself gets thin,
Yeah.
that's what'll do it. Once that film becomes thin, it's you're pretty much screwed.
And
And
because you can even like thread it through projector, and like if you just do it slightly incorrectly, it'll like pull on the film.
it's gone.
Wow. Maybe digital is the way to go then.
I think. Well,
There are benefits to it, but
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
but I mean, it is rare too that it happened on
Right,
film.
yeah,
I mean, it was a rare occurrence.
I've never seen it happen, but I think I've been at theaters before where it seemed like there was like a couple of seconds cut out. And maybe that explains it. Maybe they're like, wow, this is
Oh,
fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what you're supposed to do on the 35. It was, quick fixes. As long as, like he said, there wasn't big chunks of the movie
Right.
or stuff missing, you're always just supposed to splice it real quick and put it back
Right.
together. Because I worked for Blockbuster, and when during the time of VHS, and it was the same thing. When VHS would come back, we had a splicer machine, and we would splice the thing back together. But when you were supposed to pop it in and make sure what part it was, and if it was during a thing and a bunch of dialogue was missing, we were supposed to then write it off. But if it was nothing major, then you put it back out on the shelf.
What if it was
for
during like a demon masturbation scene? What would you do?
Well, if it was me, as soon as Trick or Treat would have got ripped, I would have, sent it back so they would have to buy another one
Oh,
to
yeah.
give, Mark Price and Tony Field some
A couple
money.
extra bucks, yeah. Skippy needs his peanut butter.
That's right. Help the brothers out,
So I do have one more thing to say about this movie, if I could. I know it's a couple topics back,
Oh.
but Matt Brassfield talks a lot, and doesn't allow us to get a word in.
That's true.
Damn it!
There it goes again.
But like on the subject of like the movie not pushing the envelope on its subject matter far enough. I also feel that way about the type of metal that this movie represents. It's like because it is supposed to be like I mean obviously the movie takes place in the heyday of the whole metal is evil and it's ruining our children
Right.
kind of thing. But it's like you listen to it and it's just all love songs.
Yeah.
And like it's not even like heavy or anything like that. They're just sort of
It's just rock.
yeah, it's just rock. It's like so like all this demonic imagery and everything like that is just like this big show, but like if you pay attention to it, there's not a lot of substance to it.
That's true. But I mean, a lot
That
of
was
that.
the
Well,
yeah,
I mean that was the '80s, and
because I mean,
that
my-
is also why I don't like that type of music.
Yeah,
that era.
I can totally see that. Because I mean, look at Motley Crue. I mean, like a lot of their songs. I mean,
And I mean, I like songs like from that era. I just don't like like I could never listen to an entire Motley Crue album, but
Right.
like I probably like about 4 or 5 of their songs.
Right. but I mean, they looked like that too. They look like they should be worshiping the devil.
Right,
And they
yeah.
went home sweet home.
Yeah, but you like listen to them and they're like they're pretty safe, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, they like going to strip clubs. That's about as horrible as they get.
Well, honestly, that's what the 80s music was about, was getting laid and drugs and having a
Yeah,
good time.
yeah.
I mean, even bands like Wasp and all that. I mean, granted, they drink blood from skulls and you know what I mean, and have all these ridiculous animal fuck like a beast. But when it came down to it, it was all just about getting drunk and fucking women.
Yeah.
That was it. That was the whole substance to
It's
it.
all music.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's actually the name of the new Damien Gerardo album. Get drunk and fuck some women.
Should be.
But yeah, no, yeah. I mean, it's fun, but it could have been funner.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, any plans for Halloween, either one of you? You guys going to do anything exciting?
Same as every year, I have none.
Are you going to turn off your light and make sure kids don't come to ask for candy?
Yeah,
Good job.
I bought a little bundle of mini comics that Top Shelf put out. It's like Johnny Boo and something else, and you're supposed to give them out for Halloween at the store. But I just bought the whole bundle myself, and I'm just gonna give them away at my house or
I thought
something.
you were just gonna keep them.
No, I did read it. It was all right. But that's my big Halloween plan.
So basically,
give comics to
to
kids.
kids. So I thought
I'll get some candy.
I
too.
thought you and Kathleen would do something fun.
I think. Well, we're actually still kind of looking for a Halloween party if anybody out there has one. But I think we found one
At Eric's house with the lights off and
Yeah,
playing kids.
yeah. Everybody be as
We
quiet.
just sit quietly.
It's a
in the
quiet
dark.
party.
Yeah, it's
No,
my
no.
type of party.
I think we're gonna go to the Elk in Xenia because they're having a little Halloween thing, and that place is awesome. That's the one where like they have that like every Friday at 11 p.m. I've been there for it twice now. They do this thing when 11 o'clock approaches, you have to take off your hat, and if you're a member of the club, you have to stand up, and they do this like this guy with this awesome voice. I mean, I'm talking like he should be reading like, I don't know, like,
Beer.
no, like doing radio or something. He's got this like cool voice, and he always stands up and he reads this like or recites because he's not reading this like weird elkish speech about how wherever you're at in the world, if you're an elk, you're all. But I mean, it's like dim and there's like this blue light emanating from the clock, and there's like elk heads everywhere. So it's kind of weird and creepy, but
I mean,
So
they
it's
are a cult.
it is, yeah.
So it's like a
It is
club.
it's the Elks Club.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But it's really
Of which my dad is a member.
It's as I say, it's really nice, and I don't mean to like. I mean, it's creepy like when you look at it.
I've eaten lunch there.
Yeah, but I thought it
Good
was
pork
awesome.
tenderloin sandwich.
I thought it was awesome, but I mean, at the same time, it was kind of just strange.
I've watched numerous episodes of The Price is Right there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, how evil could
Oh,
this
the one
club
in
be?
Xenia?
Yeah.
The same one?
Uh-huh.
Okay, yeah.
This club's not evil then.
Yeah, they have karaoke. I mean, it's nice, But I think that's where we're going to go for the Halloween thing.
Nice.
How about you, sir?
I'll actually be on the radio.
Oh.
So
On
Halloween.
Waiso?
Yeah, for Kaleidoscope with Baron von Portchop. We'll be doing the Halloween show of Kaleidoscope.
Oh, that's awesome.
So we'll be playing like,
So
cheesy
Halloween
Halloween
Wednesday this year.
music, and yeah, it's on a Wednesday.
Right.
So we'll be doing that for the night, basically.
That's
And,
cool.
Playing ghost stories from other horror hosts, and
Well, then I can tell you exactly what I'll be doing for Halloween.
Yeah?
I'll be recording an episode of The Viewmasters.
We guys watch the Halloween episode of Farscape? The one where they all show up in costumes. And
yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
that's
so it sounds like all of us have at least some plans now.
Yeah.
Viewmasters for Eric, unless Joe wants to hide at his house and turn off the lights.
Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's true.
Maybe he wants to pass out candy.
That's, I guess. Well, I mean, he does live on the creepiest road of any of
It
us
is
here.
scary. Have you been there over there?
No, I've
It's creepy.
Yeah, it's like in a really dark wooded area with no lights.
Yeah.
And it's a cul-de-sac.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no, and he means no lights.
Yeah.
Like none. There's no street lights. I thought I was going to wreck into something when we were driving.
So maybe we should all go to Joe's house then.
Yeah, it's probably the safest place.
Spooky. Just don't play any records backwards when you're over there.
Right, right.
Oh, of course, the only records he probably has are like, Superman radio shows from the 50s.
That and like the Decemberists.
Yeah. Either one of those could be scary backwards.
Right.
I'd go to the Superman records over the Decemberists.
So have either of you guys ever like taken any of your records or songs or anything and then played them backwards?
I think I've tried to
see
play.
if there's anything.
I think I tried to
once.
play record
I
backwards.
did
and nothing.
Shout at the Devil.
Oh,
And
really?
You just, I mean, literally, it just sounds like shit. I mean, there's absolutely no messages.
Right.
Right.
And I've heard that that's technically almost impossible to do, to put actual messages. Like, you can hear whatever you want. I mean,
Well, you can do it, but you have to actually say it backwards.
yeah.
And then that way, when you play it backwards,
Yeah.
it plays forward.
And most of the, well, let's be honest, most 80s hair metal guys didn't have the brain cells to say
Right.
something backwards, you know what I mean?
But like any of the big songs like that are always pointed out, like even the Judas Priest thing,
Yeah.
or like I think even Stairway to Heaven has that as well. Have you guys ever done that?
Huh.
Yeah.
What kind of message is supposedly on Stairway to Heaven?
It's like,
Send more beer.
Yeah. Send us pop brownies.
it is like I don't know. You can look it up online, and then it'll like tell you what. See, that's part of the problem is that like if you look it up online, they will tell you what it's supposed to say,
Right.
so that when you actually do like listen to it backwards.
Yes, oh, yeah.
Of course you'll hear
Yeah,
it because it's already in your head.
Right.
Yeah.
Because the whole
That sounds like witchcraft right there.
Oh yeah.
because the whole Judas Priest thing was total bullshit.
Right,
Like, there was a documentary that I watched on it, and like clearly the kids had issues.
Yeah.
Right.
They were out on a
Yeah, we
playground
watched
doing
that.
drugs. Yeah,
Yeah.
doing drugs, drinking heavily, and hard alcohol, and then decided that they were going to do a suicide pact, and then both of them shot themselves. So it's Judas Priest's fault that these kids were smoking drugs and taking a bunch of alcohols and were depressed.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense, And then even when they had him in the courtroom, Judas Priest themselves, Halford is basically saying, like, this makes absolutely no sense why we're here. You know what I mean? Like, because somebody listens to our song and then commits an act. I mean, that'd be ridiculous. Should the Beatles then been sued because of Sharon Tate's murder? Because
Right.
Manson was influenced by that. So let's sue the Beatles and let's sue, anybody that has a song playing if they kill somebody because that song clearly made them do it.
Or if they were drinking Kool-Aid while they did it, it's obviously the Kool-Aid's fault.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
It's
that's
it's
retarded.
Just, people looking to push the blame off on anything else other than, that, maybe if I would have paid attention to my kid.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And seeing maybe that this kid, because clearly these kids had emotional problems. I mean, no one sits there, a normal person who's not either A, depressed or something, doesn't sit there and go, you know what, today I think I'm going to go to a kid's playground and shoot myself in the face with a 12 gauge. I think that's what I'm going to do today.
Because that British rocker said it might be a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, if Judas Priest was had any sort of hidden message in their music, backward and forward or whatever, it's to fuck other dudes.
Yeah.
You don't know what it's like.
Yeah. Wow, yeah. Huh. You guys want to go to a playground and see what happens?
Sure.
I got some 12 gauges in my car.
I only need the 12 gauges.
just some Purell.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It's going to burn, but you're going to love it.
But I think, yeah, everybody's always looking, like Eric said, I think everyone's looking at something to blame somebody for something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if it's like the McDonald's, the girl that dropped the hot McDonald's coffee in her lap and then sued McDonald's. Coffee's supposed to be fucking hot. Are you kidding me?
Right.
And then you sue McDonald's for dropping coffee that you dropped yourself in your lap,
Yeah, it's
and then
crazy.
you sue them because you got scalded? Fucking coffee's hot. I mean,
Right.
it's like, are you kidding me? And we waste taxpayer money for this stupid bitch to go to court to try to sue McDonald's over coffee?
There was actually like a little bit more to that case than what we all know of.
I'm
The fact that, I mean, she was dumb. She put the cup of coffee between her legs, like as she was going through the drive-thru. But the McDonald's employees also did not secure the lid on the cup. So like she picked it up. Everybody's done it. You pick up a cup by the lid.
Right.
But honestly, was it that the McDonald's people didn't put it on the cup, or when she put it between her legs, if you squeeze it a little bit, that stuff's going to pop?
Right.
I mean, could she have done it to herself?
Oh, yeah.
It's possible. But either way, I mean, it's a dumb, frivolous lawsuit.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that it went through.
Right. Yeah.
Because it sets a precedent for everybody to go, huh,
Yeah.
I think I dropped a hammer in my toe. I'm going to sue the
Yeah.
hardware store.
Right. Yeah.
Or my favorites when when you see those videos where people were trying to sue like grocery stores and they like put grapes on the ground themselves and then like step on them and then lay on the ground and act like they slipped on the grape. Are you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean?
Good idea. Are you writing this down?
We're recording this for posterity.
Yeah.
And then just like the Columbine stuff, everyone wanted to blame Doom and Marilyn Manson, and it's like,
Right.
no, clearly these kids had some emotional issues. They were already, breaking into stuff and stealing stuff from people's vans. The kids were in a wrong path to begin with. They were probably made fun of and tortured at school by peers because they were different, and
They should have watched this movie.
Yeah, exactly.
they could have had Sammy Kerr do the
Yeah.
work for it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, here's another thing about this movie. So everybody picks on Skippy because he's a metalhead. And yet when Sammy Kerr shows up at the prom there,
They
or whatever
love-
the fuck
they
that is,
love
they fucking love him.
Well, that seems about right though. Like I knew people that would make fun of you being different, and then like as soon as something was popular, they all latched onto it. Like,
True story too. I knew a kid in high school who was racist, said he hated black people and all this, but he listened to gangster rap. True story. Like he would sit there and
was his name Eric Schonborn?
No, but were you like that as well?
No.
But yeah,
no, he didn't listen to rap.
Exactly.
But I think people are always hypocrites like that. You know, it's like, oh, the kid's different, and let's make fun of him because he has long hair or whatever. But then, they were probably listening to Twisted Sister in their car on their way home, from school. It's just that double standard. I mean, bullies will find whatever they can about somebody that sets them, that's different than them. So, of course, the metalheads in the 80s were the kids that get picked on. Early 90s, it was the skater kids, because I remember people always making fun of the skater fags, and you know what I mean? They always find something different to pick on somebody about.
Well, they were right about the skater fags.
Hey, I had friends that were skaters.
Yeah, so,
I like how this turned into morals. All of a sudden.
This is what's making me sleepy now.
Yeah.
Good. We had a fine show.
Yeah. He almost lied. He almost said good movie.
Yeah.
Or good choice. But yeah, that was fun. I'm glad you brought that over.
It was fun. Yeah. And, you brought over some choices, and I had already seen 2 of the other movies you brought over, and so, I'm just more interested in seeing something that I hadn't seen before. Yeah.
Understandable.
Although I totally would have been into seeing those other 2 movies, again.
You should say what they were. See if people...
one of them was The Collector, which has a sequel coming out very shortly.
Yes, which I'm excited about. I really can't wait. Because that first one, I thought it was going to be a throwaway movie. Because I was just buying horror films when it came out. And I was like, I'll give this a try.
I saw that in the theater the day it came out.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was really surprised by it. And I think they meshed the hero, who really is not really a nice guy himself.
Right.
But then by midway through the movie, you're liking the guy, and you're like, man, I hope he can help,
Right. Then the other one is children shouldn't play with dead things.
Right.
That's a good moral, too.
That is a good moral, yeah. And then those children learn that moral in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it is also a movie that is directed by the guy who would go on to direct A Christmas Story.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I've never seen Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, but...
You should check it out.
I recommend both movies. Yeah.
Yeah, Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things is one of those ones that, like I was telling Eric earlier, like, as a kid, I hated. Like, I couldn't stand it. Because, you grow up watching Day of the Dead and Dawn of the Dead, so you think gut munching, and, that's what you want to see, Return of the Living Dead style stuff.
Right.
And it's not that. But then, as I got older and watched it, just the atmosphere of it is, I think, what makes that movie really good. The island cemetery that they're at. They're just on the... What is that place actually called?
I don't know.
It's by New York, but it's basically the island that's just one huge cemetery.
Right.
And,
Hawaii.
and the people are stuck there.
Mexico.
And so when the zombies come back, they're stuck on this island with all these zombies, and the main guy from it is a total asshole. So the whole movie, you're wanting to see him get his, basically.
And when you do see this movie, pants.
Pants?
Pants.
Okay. I know what he's talking about.
I gotta wear pants?
Well, you should wear pants. Unless you're at home, then feel free. Just rip those fuckers off.
Free balling.
Yeah. But when you actually watch this movie, you will see. If you watch this movie, which I recommend you do, when you see it, the word pants will pop into your head, and you'll understand.
All right.
100%.
Cool.
Pants.
I'll check it out.
It's really fun. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
Alright, so we got one more of these bonus-odes coming up probably next week. And I suppose if all of us are alive, we may do it again next year.
Sweet.
Yay!
Sweet.
Except for Matt Brasfield.
Oh.
Oh, Am I on the ban list with Jeremy?
You're on the banned list, and you're also going to die.
Weren't you?
No.
Was Matt the very first guest we ever had? I
I
believe.
believe he was.
Yeah.
I think it was.
Watch the wrestler, right?
For the
Yeah.
wrestler.
Yeah,
Yep.
nice.
That was another fun show.
Thanks for sticking with us, buddy.
No problem. You guys pick, I know, topics that usually fit for me. The wrestler. I love wrestling. Horror films. I love horror films.
A very
Good
minimal,
placing, guys.
minimal amount of planning goes into our work.
Oh, yeah. we generally try to suit when we have guests on to shows that are to movies or comics that those people would enjoy. We think,
Right. That's why.
except for Kathleen, because every time she shows up, those plans somehow usually fall through, and we have to think of something on the fly.
That happens.
Why is that, Jake?
No, actually, it only happened once, didn't it?
I don't even remember. I was just agreeing with you.
Okay, no, we had her on, and we were supposed to review Bring Me the Head of Alfredo
Oh
Garcia.
yeah, and I couldn't find it or it didn't
Yeah,
work.
it just didn't exist.
Yeah.
So we had to pick something last minute.
Who'd you guys pick?
Old Boy.
Ah, gotcha.
Oh yeah. Old boy.
So what do you guys, do you guys know what you're going to be watching with her, or?
Nope, she is picking a movie.
Nice.
She has not told either of us.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's another surprise for you guys.
Yep.
Yeah. We like surprises occasionally.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's a trick. It could be a trick or a treat.
Wow.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Oh.
Thank you for listening to Gutter Trash. You can subscribe to the show from guttertrash.net or from iTunes and leave us a review. Visit guttertrash.net for email information, links to our Facebook and Twitter pages, and for other podcasts and websites in the Gutter Trash Network. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.